Good morning, everyone. On behalf of all the amazing women at IITB, I, Likita Reddy, the Institute Girls nominee, extend a warm welcome to all of you for this special event celebrating International Women's Day. Today, we are incredibly fortunate to have our three panelists share their wisdom and experience with us. First, we have the esteemed faculty members, Professor Mazhar Kamran, from the IDC School of Design, and Professor Mukta Tripathi from the Department of Chemical Engineering, whose dedication to their fields and support for the students is truly inspiring. I request both our deputy directors, Professor KVK Rao and Professor Sudarshan, to welcome our panelists with a bouquet. And now, it is with immense honor that we welcome our esteemed guest speaker, the legendary Miss Ratna Pathak Shah. Many of us know her for her iconic portrayal of Maya Sarabhai, a character who challenged societal norms and redefined the image of an Indian mother-in-law. Her latest film, Dhak Dhak, further exemplifies her commitment to portrayal of womanhood in all its complexities and celebrating the strength and resilience of women. Your remarkable acting career, social activism, and unwavering voice for women's empowerment are a constant source of inspiration for all of us. I request Professor Pooja Purang to present Ratna ma'am with a bouquet. Thank you, ma'am. So today's discussion promises to be insightful and thought-provoking. We look forward to hearing Ratna ma'am's unique perspective, Professor Kamran and Professor Tripathi's valuable knowledge, and engaging in a dialogue that empowers us all to break barriers and build a more equitable future. Before we proceed, there are a few instructions for the audience. Photography or videography of any sort is strictly prohibited, and kindly put your mobile phones on silent. In a few moments, we'll be circulating a box with pens and paper. Feel free to write down any questions you may have for our guests. Thank you. Please join us in a round of applause for our esteemed guests. So I hand it over to Professor Kamran and Professor Tripathi.
Thanks. First of all, Ratna, thanks for accepting our invitation on International Women's Day.
So we'll like to begin with your most recent work.
Do we want to wait? I mean, is this the audience we're expecting? Or I'm told that your students wake up late. Yeah. Don't worry, I have two sons who wake up late, so I'm quite used to it. But do you think it's worth waiting, or should we start? I think we should start.
I think
this is what we're expecting?
Time, yeah.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Yeah, so let's begin with your most recent work, the film Dhak Dhak. 4 women riding bikes on very tough terrain and reaching the hardest road and the highest motorable road. So I believe initially you were hesitant and then you said yes to it. So what went on? What goes on in this kind of a decision?
Well, my physical safety really was the key for me. That was the deal breaker to start with. I didn't think I'd be able to do this. Not at this age. I have never ridden a bike before. I haven't even ridden a scooter. A bicycle is about as far as I have gone. So this was a tricky one. I didn't know if I'll be able to do it. And I didn't want to make a fool of myself on camera for sure. So I just kept thinking, okay, this is not what I should take up. And then I happened to meet Arshad Varsi at a gathering. And he told me that he had heard that this film was being made and that I had been offered a part. So he asked me, why are you going to be doing it? So I said, no, I'm very nervous. And he said, are you crazy? I mean, they'll look after you. Of course they will. They'll sort it out. They'll teach you. They'll get you a trainer. Don't worry, just do it. So he gave me so much confidence that I decided to go for it. And I didn't regret that, not for a minute. It was very, very difficult. A 350cc bullet is no fun to handle. I can promise you that. Left to myself, I'll never get back on again. Except sitting pillion. I'm happy to do that. But in that protected environment, I had trainers, I had people around me who would be able to look after me. I had clear roads because they cleared everything when we were when we were riding, particularly me. They didn't want me to knock anyone down. And all the cars around in the shot are our cars. So it's safe. It's safe. It's not like riding in Bombay traffic. Not for a second was it like that. This would be impossible. I would never do it. But that was manageable. I didn't do much of the riding on the hills because that was just another level of skill. I didn't have that. Some of the other girls did. Fatima and Dia and all of them, Sanjana, all of them rode. And they were very, very confident. I wish I'd started earlier in my life to ride. It is fun, no doubt. And what is better is the kind of environment that a thing like riding creates. The kind of camaraderie it creates on the road. Riders look out for each other. They are a team, they are a tribe, and they function like one. Once upon a time, tribes looked out for each other. Now, our tribes are just fighting each other. But on the road, for a while, you suddenly become part of a tribe that is a really supportive, healthy, immersive kind of tribe. After riding, you sit and chat with people. Wherever you go, you see bikers stopping and talking. They eat together. If there's a biker in trouble on the road, somebody will stop to help. And there are bikers from all over the country. Up in Ladakh, the maximum number of people I saw were from Tamil Nadu. Apparently, it's a great fixture for the Tamil bikers. Men, women, there were bicyclists going up to Khardungla. It was amazing how people can push themselves and how wonderful they can be with each other. Why do we lose it when we come down to the plains? It was just so beautiful, that whole experience. I really enjoyed it. Apart, of course, from the great, great place that Ladakh is. It's an extraordinary experience. If you guys haven't gone, please go to Ladakh. It'll give you some humility, if nothing else.
Well, I really enjoyed the film, and I really liked that there were these 4 women from 4 different backgrounds. What I found interesting was that 2 of them, Dia Mirza's character and Sanjana Sanghi's character, they were struggling with questions of very basic agency, just to be able to get out of the house, getting permissions and that kind of stuff. And your character, Mahi, and Sky, they were struggling with questions of relevance, recognition, these kinds of questions. So my question to you is, even when women are able to get some amount of basic agency, is there sort of a unique struggle that women have when it comes to recognition, acknowledgement, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, certainly. I'm not sure if that struggle is entirely female-centric. Maybe it's the experience of young men all around also. I'm sure you guys struggle for relevance. You guys struggle to step out of your comfort zones. If you don't want to be engineers, you really have a fight on your hands, don't you? Daddy and mommy are never going to let you go, right? And then you have to go through IIT, use up somebody else's seat, use up public money, and then make films afterwards. Naughty, naughty. But what I'm trying to say is that finding agency is something that is hard at the best of times for all of us. Most of the world seems to be sort of loaded against us. Women definitely have a different kind of issue, particularly somebody like Dia's character and Sanjana's character. These were characters that lived in highly repressive surroundings. A lot of us have managed to move out of those surroundings. Yet, Have we managed to move out of that in here? I know I'm speaking for myself entirely. I carried much baggage for many years. I grew up in a family that was extremely liberal. I had all my opportunities. I didn't have a brother, so there was no comparison. You know, I mean, it was fine. My parents were extremely supportive of everything I wanted to do, and so was my extended family. But I bought into this whole business of a woman's role and a woman's place and all that. I did. I did think that I did my, molakat. There's this traditional kind of thing that young pre-pubertal girls among the Gujaratis are made to do a fast for 5 days over 5 years in which they don't eat salt, right? And that's going to get them a good husband. So I did that, like a good Gujarati girl. And I landed myself a good husband also. So I don't know if there's the connection or it was something else. But the point is that I bought into all of that. And I bought into the fact that there were certain things I could not do. And it took me a long time to understand in my own head that this is wrong. I have to learn how to think differently. For example, I genuinely believed for many, many years that acting for a woman is something that you do while you're young and pretty. Then you get married and have children. That's what all the actresses before me did. But suddenly when I came out of drama school and I started working, the penny dropped. And I said, this is something that I want to do forever. Not until I'm young and pretty. My being young and pretty has nothing to do with it. This is something that I want to do personally forever. And I've got to get good at it. I've got to be really, really good. That's the only way I'll be able to sustain it. So these kind of things do take time. I mean, I'm seeing many more differences today among the girls that I meet, the younger girls. There's much more confidence and much less baggage. But I don't think we've dumped it all. I mean, look at how everyone jumps about doing wedding ceremonies. 5-6 दिन की wedding ceremonies, just an excuse to change clothes. Do a fashion show in your college and get it over with, no? Don't get married because you have to wear 5 clothes. So these are the kind of changes that I am seeing. We are sort of still conflicted. And probably that'll be forever. And I think the men will have to deal with their issues of not fitting in even more. And they'll have a bigger struggle. I really feel that the struggle young men are going through today in India is probably much worse. You see, everyone has bought into the idea that girls should be given opportunity. Beti padhao, beti bachao, vagara, vagara. Right? All these slogans we are seeing everywhere all around us. So we are convinced that the girls must be looked after. What about the guys? What are our attitudes there? How are we bringing up our sons? We women who have brought up children. How are we doing that? How are you who will bring up children? How are you going to do that? Are you going to be able to be different? Or do you like the privileges that you have already got? It's a question of giving up privilege. Nah? When you want to be an equal partner, you give up many privileges. I give up the privilege of not wanting to know anything about anything outside the house. I can say, "Mujhe to kuch malum hi nahi, aap hi kar dijiye sab kuch." I can become a nice Hindustani nari. What good is that? And what good is it for the men to continue persisting with attitudes that they know are no longer useful for the 21st century? So we are in a state of flux, and it'll take time to resolve.
So it's very interesting that what you narrated just now is kind of mirrored in Hindi cinema with the roles offered to women. If you see historically, it's almost that sequence, Initially, they were expected to be just worshipping their husbands. That was the role for a woman, Satyavan, Savitri, and it started there. And it went on for quite a while. And do you think it was because the men were in charge as writers, directors, or was it society would only accept such films?
All of the above. Mainly it was men who were writing. So even when a man like Bimal Roy wrote Sujata, finally it was the man who liberated Sujata, no? Or Bandini, that woman is constantly diving for her husband's feet in that film. And that's supposed to be a progressive film. So it's very difficult, you know, these attitudes are so long entrenched. 3,000 years kam se kam na. ये तो patriarchy कम से कम 3,000 साल चली है. Probably you can predate it also, but I'm saying कम से कम 3,000 साल तो चली है ना patriarchy. पितृसत्ता. And it will take time to dismantle. And it will have to come from the men themselves when they recognize how difficult it is to live with patriarchy. But that's besides the point. That was not the question you were asking. Partly, it is the fact that it was men who were writing and directing. It was society that saw women in a certain role, support system by and large. That's what we still are seen as, support system by and large. So anyone who wants to change that has a fight on her hands, no doubt about it. And now I do see that there is a genuine desire to give women characters agency. That probably comes from the fact that there are many, many, many more female writers in the business today. There are also more female directors, but not enough, I'm afraid. And even a hugely successful female director like Greta Gerwig, or what's her name? Yeah. The one who made Barbie, gets left out of the race when possible. I'm not saying that Barbie is a great film or anything like that, but it was a hugely successful film. And hugely successful films have been rewarded by awards in many cases. So I'm saying that it is a struggle.
Sorry to interrupt, did you see her earlier film, Little Women?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Also an interesting study because Little Women is one of those stories that we've all grown up on.
What I found is, and the way she dealt with that subject.
Right.
Taking a classic,
quite a different attitude.
But bringing today's attitude into it. It was very interesting.
Yes, and that's what is fascinating that's happening around at the moment. There is a desire to re-look at what we have been used to seeing, what we are familiar with. You know, re-look at our relationships, re-look at expectations, dreams, everything. And it's, sometimes it works. It comes out in something rather attractive and very, very meaningful and beautiful. Sometimes it's just lip service, but even so, doesn't matter. It's better than Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. Anupama is better than Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. So that's where I'm willing to stop. कि bargain itna hai, but आगे तो होगा ही. The trouble, I think, is when they just try to make films with women playing what roles that men could have done. You know, the Mardani kind of mood. The women are doing exactly all the stupid things that men did. And that we have been criticizing for years कि क्या ज़रूरत है इस तरह की बदतमीजी की और बेवकूफ़ी की. अभी औरतें बदतमीज और बेवकूफ़ हो रही हैं. पहले मर्द दारू पी करके दंगा करते थे, अब औरतें दारू पी करके दंगा कर रही हैं. क्या फ़ायदा हुआ? किसका फ़ायदा हुआ? किसकी एम्पावरमेंट हुई? ज़ीरो, किसी की नहीं. So these are the kind of questions that we need to delve into further. But it will happen. These are not things that can be prescribed. As soon as you say, ये फिल्म बहुत अच्छी है, इसको ज़रूर देखना, meaningful picture, 100% आपकी आधी audience खत्म वहाँ. क्योंकि it becomes like a doctor's medicine. मैं क्यों जाने देखूँ something that is good for me? I'll go and see something that I enjoy, right? So we have to find a different vocabulary. We have to find a different way of engaging. We have to find different methods of engaging. And we are doing that. I mean, there's a lot of creative buzz. I'm not saying anything about the quality at the moment, but there are people thinking in different ways, whether it's TikTok or it's Insta Reels or whatever it is. There's something churning. उसमें से कुछ निकलने का chance है.
So you talked about how there are still not enough women directors. There are women, prominent women editors, choreographers. You say writers are coming up. What
Lots of women in every technical department at the moment. I did a film, a Gujarati film, if you please, called Kutch Express, in which everyone, our DOP and our second DOP, second unit DOP, were both women. Our sound recordist was a woman. Only our director was a man. Our set designer was a woman. Our costume designer obviously was a woman. And there were a lot of female actors. So in every department, I'm seeing many more women on a set. It's wonderful.
what do you think are the conditions that either we as a society can create or the industry can create so that we have more women directors? Maybe that can lead to more honest portrayal of women, their interiority, their imaginations.
I wish there was funding agencies. There are two things where people run into serious trouble while wanting to make movies. One is finding the money to make the film. वो तो फिर भी हो जाता है. किसी तरह से beg, borrow, steal करके people find the money to make a movie. The real problem is how to distribute it, how to get it across to the audience. That has been a huge setback in every attempt to change cinema in a dramatic way, in any particular direction. The NFDC tried to do it with funding of a certain kind of films, etc. But if you have nowhere to show those films, so those films get made and they're sitting in the dabbas, in some go down somewhere that nobody even knows of. Do you know that there are hardly any original negatives available of any of the so-called great art films that were made? There is no print of Albert Pinto Ko Gussa Kyun Aata Hai. There is a rotten print of Bhavni Bhavai. There is a mediocre print of Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron. Anything that has been digitized has been somewhat preserved. But the old original negative, there's nothing, no preservation of any kind. And I'm talking about the 3 and 4 films that I know of, but films have been made all over this country. If Scorsese hadn't stepped in and looked out for Ray's old negatives, what would we have done? हमारी तो कोई interest ही नहीं है. हमारा film archives जल गई पूरी. The place burnt down. There's no print of the first film ever made, Raja Harishchandra. There is no print of Alamara. There's nothing. We've got no archival material. It's amazing how blind and stupid we've been. But we don't have to continue to be like that. So all of you young people who are coming along, think in terms of things in a more meaningful way. Not just in terms of entertainment and not entertainment. Films have, or any kind of media, has a huge impact on lives. And is more than anything else a record of the times. You know, there was something I read recently, that there are no films made in Delhi of the 60s and 70s के ज़माने में. बहुत कम फिल्में बनती थी. Nobody shot in Delhi. 40s, 50s, 60s. Those films were all shot in Bombay. So you have record of old Bombay in movies. You watch an old Devanand film and you'll say, "Arey, Marine Drive aisa dikhta tha." So you've got something to link back to. Delhi has nothing. And this person was saying, isn't it amazing that films were never made on Delhi? So there's no memory of a past in public consciousness. Films help to do that, you know. They keep a memory of our past alive. And sometimes we need those memories.
That understanding, you know, that films are much more than entertainment. They are a cultural heritage. I mean, like, somebody wants to know, like, how Bombay was, you can directly experience it and see it, you know. And if you don't have those kind of films, there's nothing, no proper record.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's so interesting, you know. You can look at the World War II sensibility if you see Rossellini's post-wars immediately, you know. It's almost like first-hand. When the filmmaker is doing it very authentically. But I want to emphasize, you know, I agree, I've been a practicing person in the industry for more than 2 decades. So I've seen the commercial cinema, I've seen the independent cinema. And I would entirely agree with you when you say that focusing on just enabling a film is not enough. And I've experienced that firsthand also. It is the second part, which is a tougher challenge. And here's where, you know, I think one policy change that Maharashtra did, would you have felt that, you know, when they, not the subsidy, but the guaranteed shows in multiplexes to Marathi cinema. There was some regulation.
While there was that, yes. But a lot of...
And that really kind of enabled,
Yes.
because they knew they will be able to release the film.
Yes, yes. And there are many states now that offer subsidies, that offer many things. But there are so many clauses along with that. Gujarat, for example...
But what I'm saying is, you know, guaranteeing release.
Guaranteeing release is a bigger achievement.
Support.
Yes, I agree.
Like you said, you know, we can जुगाड़ से कैसे भी करके पैसे इकट्ठा कर लोगे, beg, borrow, steal. People will join in, you know, without charging or a nominal fee. You have made it, but now what do you do with it?
And I thought internet would help to do that, to open out that distribution circuit. But that also has got its own firewalls. Everywhere you come up against a wall, saying कि इसी तरह का बनाओ तो तुमको मिलेगा, पैसा मिलेगा, तुमको दिखाने को मिलेगा. And of course, at the moment we are seeing a second sort of intellectual colonization with Netflix and Amazon Prime and people like that. Telling us what we should see and what we shouldn't. So, yep, tough times in
These
different
are
ways.
really difficult areas, you know, how a new colonization, we can call it, you know, that is
So
happening.
should we?
Yeah, let's move ahead.
Yeah, let's move ahead.
Are the questions ready, or should we? We'll go on for a little
We
bit.
can
Yeah.
have students.
You know, there are not so many of us. Maybe we can just start.
Yeah.
We'll just go on for a couple of minutes till they can get all the questions together. Yeah. What do you think about acting? Can it be taught and learned? Is there such a thing as a born actor? Where do you stand on that?
Well, it can be learnt, acting, definitely. I'm not sure it can be taught. I'm not sure too much can be simply taught if the learner is not interested in what is being offered. It's very hard to actually learn anything. But definitely, acting is one of those areas which are even more difficult to communicate and get across to younger people who want to figure out what they want to do. It's also an extremely subjective thing. What I feel is good acting may not match your opinions of good acting. It is also a very personal thing. You deal with your own emotions, your own vulnerabilities all the time. So many young actors are constantly in a state of being defensive. It is a difficult proposition, engaging with and the whole process of learning how to act. Unlike traditional forms, whether dance or music or anything, where there was an established pattern of education, whatever it may be, however informal or formal it may be, in the acting business, there is no such established tradition. So everyone is sort of inventing things as they're going along and borrowing and taking bits and pieces out of... My own journey as an actor went from being exposed to very poor quality acting to being exposed to very mediocre acting, and then finally finding some kinds of little moments of glimpses of excitement. There are certain things I like as an actor. I like a certain kind of acting, and I definitely do like truth. And then I could find a way to design my own search for that. But it has to be very personal. It's very difficult to go to a school of training and come out of it an actor. I don't think it happens. I had to unlearn almost everything I'd learned when I went to drama school. Partly because we had no trainers. Trainers are highly undereducated, acting trainers. They don't know what they're talking about most of the time. There's a few things that they've picked up here and there. They also have not been trained in any real way. So they are also doing an ad hoc kind of thing. Anyone passing by would be called in to do a workshop, that kind of stuff. So a lot of rubbish one picks up in that process, you know. You learn tricks, then you have to unlearn the damn things when you come out and you realize that that's not useful. But I definitely did find that television gave me a huge chance to learn because it introduced me to comedy. And theatre gave me a huge chance to learn because it introduced me to good literature. At least in theatre, you get very good material to work with. If you're doing the kind of theatre I was doing. I was doing Shakespeare and Shaw and Dharamveer Bharti and Rakesh, Mohan Rakesh, Tendulkar. These are the kind of people I was being exposed to, those ideas. New ways of looking at the world, new ways of looking at our society. Particularly Vijay Tendulkar's plays. They really shook me up. Or Habib Tanveer's plays. These are the kind of things that really made a huge impression on me. So it took me a long time, and I begged and I borrowed from various sources. So I think an actor has to kind of self-design a course, finally, and hope for the best.
All right, maybe we can go to audience questions. Do you want to start, Mazhar?
You spoke about the role of films as a reflection of our times. How does entertainment strike a balance between changing mindsets or challenging norms and just fitting in with majority views?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Who asked that? Lovely. So you tell me, give me an example of something that changed your mindset, and I'll give you an example of what did for me. There you go. That's one. And it was entertaining, right? Bazaar, the songs were marvelous. You really connected with this young girl who was being married off against her will. You cried with her. You cried with the lovers who have had to be parted. You understood why Smita was doing, that character was doing what she was doing. So it was entertaining. It was a story. You were connecting emotionally, but you were also discovering new things about the world. And that's what dozens of films have done to me. Entertained me and opened my eyes at the same time. And those are the ones that I really hold very close to my heart. A film like Citizen Kane, when I first saw that film, I was very young. And when I saw that film, I could not believe it. I could not, because those were the days when I had, goggle eyes about newspapers and news, and these are the people who make the world, who bring the world to us. They are impeccable, they're untouchable, the complete belief in that system. And suddenly you see Citizen Kane and it turns your mind around. You see what making news is all about. You see a film like, what was that wonderful film, Network. And you suddenly realize what television is. So hundreds of examples like that. Even something as silly as Idhar Udhar, something that I did, which, by the way, was in 1985. We started telecasting Idhar Udhar. Friends came out in 1994. So Idhar Udhar predates Friends, if you please. But that principle, 3 disconnected people, not family, not lovers, just friends. 3 people living together, 2 women and a man. I have to say, I was a bit taken aback by the premise itself. But look how easily everyone accepted it. And it must have caused some shifting of the mindset. कि it is possible कि मैं जब कॉलेज में पढ़ने जाऊंगी दिल्ली गोरखपुर से, तो जब मैं हॉस्टल में रहूंगी या मैं पीजी लूंगी तो किस तरह के लोगों के साथ रहूंगी? क्या उसमें मर्द भी होंगे, औरतें भी होंगी? किस तरह से, how will I deal with the world? That's one of the big problems that we all face when we come out of school. I came out of an all-girls school. Quite a few of you may have come out of all-boys institutions. And you just don't know what to do with the other sex, And it's most of the time it's not sexual. You just want to be able to have a conversation with the other and you don't know how to do it. Right? So even something as simple as that, it gives you ideas, it gives you possibilities that the world, a different world exists apart from what mummy and daddy and dada and dadi and mama and papa have told me. Otherwise, we just live in that little narrow world of ours. स्कूल में, कॉलेज में, दोस्तों में इनी मिनी माइनम हो, थोड़ी सी वेरिएशन मिलती है अपने को लाइफ में. But as soon as you go out and open yourself out to the world, suddenly everything is unusual. And film can do that. If you're talking about a documentary film, it can be entertaining, as Michael Moore's films often are. They're just downright hilarious, some of them. But they're making points that make you think, no? They're asking you to reassess what you have taken for granted. And that's what the power is. A film that I just recently saw, which is just extraordinarily beautiful. If you get a chance to see it, you must see it. It's called All That Breathes. And it was I'm sorry, that's its claim to fame, but it was nominated for the Oscars. तो शायद उसी बहाने आप लोग देख लेंगे, क्योंकि जब तक फॉरेन पैट ऑन द बैक नहीं मिलता तब तक हम लोग कुछ नहीं करते अपने बारे में. सो वो ज़रूर कीजिएगा, मगर खुदा के वास्ते अगर चांस मिले तो देख लीजिएगा वो फिल्म. बहुत बढ़िया है, क्योंकि it is talking about something that I hadn't even thought of. It's introducing me to people, and it's deeply moving, it's funny, it makes you think, it makes you feel. And it's extraordinary. It talks about two young brothers living in the dirtiest part of Delhi, in the next to a huge dumping ground. And there are these two brothers who look after injured birds, kites, entirely out of their own choice. No support from anyone. Nothing. Just apni marzi se. I can't tell you how it opened my heart out, that film. And that's what film can do. Open your heart as well as your mind. That's why a textbook can never give you the experience. However much you talk about gender studies in a textbook, when you see a movie about it, suddenly all the pennies drop.
Can it be also that films not just changes an individual heart, but changes society? Like you're talking about Idhar Udhar. You had 3 characters in an unusual living situation. But the fact that it was a comedy, does that help us swallow that new
Maybe
pill?
it does, yeah. Maybe it does. But if it changes society, well, Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi came very soon after that. तब क्या बोले? 1 step forward, 10 steps back. ये हमारी कहानी है जिंदगी की. जरा सा आगे बढ़ो, संस्कृति का धप्पा करके आपको पीछे खींच लेगा. अरे हमारी संस्कृति ही नहीं है ये. So, real assessment of everything needs to be done. दिमाग खोलने की जरूरत है.
Next question from the audience. You've portrayed, this is related to the previous question. You've portrayed a vast variety of female characters on screen. Which of these characters, according to you, was revolutionary on a personal basis and that changed your own view of women?
Wow. Revolutionary is a big word. So I will sort of say something that made a big difference. Actually, it was revolutionary, but it's something that you guys will have never seen. So I don't know how much I can talk about it. It was a play called Don Juan in Hell. This is one scene, one act out of a 4-act play written by George Bernard Shaw. It is a discussion between the devil, Don Juan. Do you guys know Don Juan? Have you heard of Don Juan? You may have heard the jumla at least. कि बड़ा नहीं शायद वो भी नहीं सुना आप लोगों ने अंग्रेजी इतना नहीं बोलते लोग. Don Juan was a famous philanderer. His claim to fame was that he seduced every woman he met. And later on, he became like a symbol for a guy who flits from female to female. So Don Juan in Hell. So Don Juan managed to seduce every woman that he met, except for one. And who should turn up in hell but that woman? So the conversation is Don Juan, the devil, that woman, and her father. And it's an extraordinary bit of writing. If you guys can get your hands on a play called Man and Superman, George Bernard Shaw. और आप वो पढ़िए, बाकी play पढ़ो ना पढ़ो, ये 3rd act उसका ज़रूर पढ़ो if you can. And we did that as a production, just the 3rd act, which was about an hour and 15 minutes. So you can imagine how long the whole play was. So anyway, so we did this one piece. And it just completely revolutionized my way of thinking, particularly with reference to the relationship between men and women. I had just got married. I had my eyes all starry-eyed. I was all starry-eyed, and all the dreams of how wives are supposed to behave and how husbands are supposed to behave and all that charming stuff that I'd been fed all my life. And then came Don Juan in Hell. And suddenly I could look at this whole relationship in a completely different way, and to see it for what it was, and to enjoy it, and to know the role that I play in that situation, and to find strength in that. It really changed my life in a big way, that one. But otherwise, Maya Sarabhai, it changed my life as a professional, because after that I started getting work. And also it gave me the opportunity to be as rude as I wanted to be and have clever words to do it in.
So this is a simple question. What is your favorite genre of movie character which you'd like to play? You have a preference between, say, comedy, drama. So the person is asked, say, preference between Maya or Mahi.
Maya or Mahi? Not too much of a difference between the two, Baba.
Yeah.
They are both fairly similar. But I'm happy that you could see the difference. I like humor. I think you can say the most important things most effectively through humor. You underline things too much and you lose your audience. I feel that very strongly. And I do feel, of course you can't use humor zabardasti, but I personally have been saved by humor. I stopped taking myself seriously as a dramatic actor, and I've seen what taking yourself seriously as a dramatic actor can do to actors. I've seen enough actors who just act as if they're acting to playback music, as if there's music playing in the background and you're constantly in a state of great, drama. I like the fact that in a film like Pulp Fiction, even when there's so much crazy stuff and very, very dangerous, very worrisome stuff happening, humor is a constant underlayer to everything that you are seeing. It sharpens my perception. So I love humor. I would give my eye teeth to do something that was funny as well as intelligent, but I think I'm going to have to wait a long time.
Did you stumble into comedy or did you seek it out?
No, stumbled totally. Because, Anand Mahindru came to me with Idhar Udhar and said there are these two girls. And I said, 100% I'm doing the serious girl. I know it. That's the one. And Anand says, no, I want you to do the other. I was astounded and I was delighted. I couldn't believe it. And sure enough, it really made a huge difference.
What comes out of the blues can be revolutionary.
Yes. It can be really, it can shake up all your perception.
You'll take the next question.
So you and Supriya Pathak are two amazing actors as well as humans. What qualities did your parents instill in you? Your mother was also an actor. Did she give you some advice? What was their influence, or your mother's influence in particular?
Oh, my mother, it's a contradictory influence. I never wanted to do the kind of roles my mother did. I did not want to act because I saw what my mother was doing and it was painful. She was doing a lot of Gujarati plays at that time, and Gujarati melodramatic plays are painful. They are unwatchable, unbearable. And I had to watch a lot of them because my mother was acting in them. So I had at one point said, never, I'm not going to act. But I also saw my mother doing scenes out of plays that she had done earlier, when she had the opportunity to do plays that she liked. She did Ibsen, she did Chekhov, and she'd do excerpts out of those plays. And her famous play, her most successful play, was a play called Maina Gurjari, in the Bhavai folk form tradition, that was revived as for that production, really. There was a great Bhavai scholar and Ma, they worked together and they put up this play called Maina Gurjari. which was a musical, and Ma sang and danced and acted, and it was a dramatic piece and all that. So Ma would perform this for us. Those were our bedtime stories, you know. We just watched her perform all her roles. And that, the mother I saw there, the acting I saw there, and the acting that I saw on stage and later in films when she was wearing a white sari and weeping in the background. I mean, there was no comparison between these two women. I saw my mother in Satyadev Dubey's Hayavadan doing Kali Mata. Just one scene. She was magnificent. There was none of that weepy, wilting mother that I saw in movies. And I was astounded. That was the influence. That Ma, in one fell swoop, told me what I shouldn't be doing and what I should be doing. So I shouldn't be doing that rubbish that I saw her do in the Gujarati melodramas, but I should be doing what she does in her other work. That power and magnificence of performance. So her influence on me was double-sided. And I often felt that I was rather, I used to copy her quite a bit when I was younger. And took me a long time to get rid of that. But then finally I did this thing, Kutch Express, in which I was a Gujarati. I was doing something that if my mother had been alive, she would have been doing that role 100%. And I was channeling my mother full on. And I was enjoying every bit of it. And I was being able to be my own self at the same time. I thought that that was just the most beautiful culmination of my relationship with my mother and her as an actress. But more than that, my relationship with my parents was one of extreme affection. I never for a single minute doubted that my parents loved me. And I can't tell you what a solid support that was. That has stood by me always, in everything I have done. And I wanted to, and I think I have managed to, pass that on to my children. That completely unconditional love that you can get from a parent. It's special. And I got it from both, in bags full. And my father had a very interesting life also. He came from a small Punjabi family in Paharganj, Delhi, completely cut off from the kind of life my mother had seen. I don't know how they got together, but they did. And coming from that kind of an environment, with almost no access to sophistication of thought or of expression. My father was a highly sophisticated man, entirely self-taught. And that's another big influence for me. That if you want to learn, there's nothing that can stop you. And you can learn from so many. And he gave me a sense of design, of style, which I think has lasted me because I do costumes for a lot of our plays, or I did costumes for a lot of our plays. And I really feel that it is. I've also done set design for our plays or light design. And that sense of design, I think it's very important for an actor to have. It just helps you to color your painting in a brighter, more efficient way. So my parents were a huge, huge influence. Not directly, but as sort of people I could look up to and people I could learn from and people who I could disagree with. They accepted that. That was the big difference. I see you young people constantly having to deal with parents who think differently. And now it's become much worse. Over the last few years, I'm seeing it much more. Because you're much more exposed to social media. Your lives are so different from the way even my life was, right? And what is really difficult for me to see is how much of a struggle it is. Because parents are not willing to change, and the distance has become so wide. And it's also so political. It breaks my heart that today politics is in our bedroom. It's between father and son, and father and daughter, and mother and child. This is not the country I imagined we'd become. This is not the society I imagined we'd become. And I don't know how we will stem this flow. But you guys, I mean, we've left. It's going to be a very hard battle ahead. To be antagonistic towards your loved ones, either as a parent or as a child. I have dealt with young boys and girls growing up. I have a daughter and 2 sons. There's antagonism, of course, but there isn't dislike in the way that I'm seeing now. That's very frightening. I mean, तुम लोगों के साथ जो हुआ सो हुआ, please don't pass it on. And जो लोग कहीं रोक सकते हैं किसी तरह से अपने आप को, please रोक लो. किसी तरह इसको रोक लो, because this is no good for us.
You have time for a couple of more? Yeah. So, this question you might have been asked often, advice to the young. So, what will your advice be to a young woman who wants to enter the field of acting, especially if she's not from an acting background? And what are the most important aspects she should keep in mind?
Yeah, it's a question I get asked a lot. It's also partly because there is a general belief that movie making is something that everyone can do. And the tools are now available for that. And a lot of us are making movies on our own, phones, cameras, whatever. And that's a great liberating fact, undoubtedly. But what happens to quality? That's something that is always on balance. And as soon as you're talking about making stuff which will stand the test of an audience viewing it, all kinds of things change. So if you're trying to get into a professional stream of acting, I would say it's a battle, and it's a long battle. It's a very long battle, long. It means 20 years, 25 years, 40 years, many years. I started work professional work in 1982. My first film was a film called Heat and Dust. I was in a blink and miss it role. I got another blink and miss it role in 83. I got another blink and miss it role in 84. And I continued to get blink and miss it roles in many movies. Nothing worked. Idhar Udhar was my first paying job. That gave me some kind of satisfaction as an actor and visibility also. Nothing again after that. Till chut things. Maybe in 90s I got a little bit of work. Tara and Filmi Chakkar and all that happened. Hardly the kind of work I was looking for, but that's what happened. Wait. 2006, Sarabhai versus Sarabhai. I was married to a man who was earning enough to look after the whole family. I knew everyone who was making movies. They used to sit in my house and make those plans because my husband was acting in more than half of them. So I'm in the nepotism bracket. And I just waited. And I see hundreds of actors doing that. You look at the 3 actors who have made it to the top, and you say, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. Yes, right. Everyone can do it. Are you willing to wait as long as Nawazuddin Siddiqui waited? He did every chut-put role in every TV serial that, I don't know how he did it. A man with that quality of ability to be the 3rd hanging body on a tree. That's what he was in one of the films. There were 3 bodies hanging on a tree. One of them was Nawaz. So how he waited and how he fought for his moment in the sun. And how he was able to keep working as an actor. Because how do you practice acting? Unlike music or dance, how do you practice? You can't do it alone. You've got to have, you've got to have somebody to work with. You've got to have a script. You've got to have an audience to get feedback on how you're doing. Because unlike the sargam, you have no sargam to guide you. Ki tum sur mein ho ke nahi ho. Right? It's a very, very tough battle. You're going to find it hard to find people to train you. You're going to find it hard to find even role models. But it gives great pleasure when you get it right. So if you're willing to hang in there and keep working and keep yourself alive in some form, then yes. But it's going to be a really tough battle. Man, woman, anyone. And be prepared for much humiliation. That is part of the deal. Going to an audition is about the most soul-destroying experience people can have. And I've met many who go to auditions. All the people I work with, all these young kids, everyone is auditioning. And it's so, so heartbreaking. My kids included. And that's another thing. Nepotism only lasts you for 3.5 seconds. Uske baad you're on your own, boss. Either you're good or you're out.
So I think we have time for one more. This will be the last question then. Do you think, I like this question actually, do you think art and drama can play an important role in engineering colleges such as ours? And especially given that the gender ratio here is quite skewed, what does that, entail?
Wonderful. Yes. In no uncertain terms, yes. It should be prescribed for you like a doctor's prescription. You must engage with art. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself really, really out of it when you get out of here. You're here for only 4-5 years, na? Uske baad to duniya mein hi jana hai, na? आप लोगों को तो तमीज भी नहीं है हेलो हाउ आर यू कैसे करने की लड़कियों के साथ बाहर निकल के क्या करोगे तुम लोग जरा सोचो and vice versa. You know, when you are so focused on a particular thing as you guys have had to be, when you're so focused, you imagine that you need nothing else in your life. But you do. You do need to feed yourself. Even an engineer, I'm sure, needs to feed himself. Intellectually, emotionally. I mean, you're human. Just because you're engineers doesn't mean you're not human. So you have to feed that person inside of you. And you have to find ways of connecting with the world outside. It cannot be all calculated on paper. It cannot be all designed. Because nothing follows design in life. Right? Even an architect will tell you, dealing with a client is what's the major part of your existence as an architect. Right? So, even a costume designer will tell you, जब अंबानी की शादी में वो चोली की लेंथ मुझे इतनी ही चाहिए, कोई नहीं सुनेगा, वो जो बोलेगी वो चोली की लेंथ इतनी ही मिलेगी उसको, चाहे वो सही लगे या गलत लगे. मेरा कहना है दुनिया के साथ एंगेज करना पड़ेगा, पड़ेगा, पड़ेगा और करना चाहिए. वरना किस किस्म के आदमी और औरत होगे तुम लोग? अगर दुनिया से ही मुकर के बैठना है तो पहाड़ पे जाके बैठ जाते ना. इंजीनियरिंग में क्यों खपाया सिर अपना इतना साल? Learn to connect. And nothing better than art to help you connect. Sing, dance, do something, not for others, for yourself. There was a time when all colleges did that, you know. They used to have drama departments where just people acted, good, bad, indifferent, didn't matter. Just being up here on stage, standing up in front of 20,000 people, not 20,000, 20 people even, gives you something here. It gives you a sense of yourself that nothing else will give you. So please do it. Absolutely essential.
Thank you. I think it was wonderful listening to you. Amazing.
Thank you. I don't know how much I got across, but
we do of late have been encouraging art courses and
yes, we have performed here.
Some of it is mandatory now.
That's the surefire way of killing it.
No.
Make it mandatory. ये तो मैं नहीं करूँगी definitely.
नहीं, in the sense there is a choice within.
कब तक चाबुक चलाएंगे लोग यार?
There is a basket of things within that they have to.
You have to choose something. Yeah. Okay, good. At least you have some choice. मगर ये चाबुक चलाना हमारे बहुत अपनी आदत है. हाँ, बच के रहना. अपने बच्चों के साथ तो definitely बच के रहना. उससे काम नहीं चलता. चाबुक से बिल्कुल काम नहीं चलता. और तरीके ढूंढने पड़ते हैं. और अपने co-workers के साथ भी. वहाँ तो चाबुक बिल्कुल नहीं चलती. You have to find hundreds of more innovative ways of dealing with human beings. So be prepared for that. And art, read a little bit. कुछ ideas आएंगे.
So we'll hand it over to Litika from here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts. Your passion and love for what you do has resonated in every one of your perfectly chosen words. Not only have you given us a glimpse of the lady behind the iconic Maya Sarabhai, but you've also shown us a new ways to perceive and enjoy film and theatre. Thank you so much for that. Now I request Vaijayanti ma'am to present a token of love for Ratna ma'am. I invite Professor Nandita Madhavan to propose a vote of thanks.
So before you go, thank you formally from the gender cell for accepting our invitation and also being so approachable. It was really great for us. And your session here had whatever you said, humor, you were candid and a lot of points for people to think about. So thank you on behalf of the Institute, and thank you to Mazhar and Mukta as well for conducting this session. Thank you. And thank you for our student team, Likita and her team who put the whole thing together, the CDEEP staff for recording, the PTD cell for the venue, and if I have forgotten someone, please let me go off it. So thank you all for being here. The program still goes on. We'll have a short break of 15 minutes for tea, and then we'll be celebrating women on our campus. So look forward to seeing everyone back. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the ladies and dignitaries on the occasion of International Women's Day 2024. The theme of which is Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. Yeah, we the women, the part of the world, the part of the society, the part of the family. Believing and continuing this thought, we arranged a program to felicitate our women world in the IIT Bombay with their work contribution to make this institute an exemplary of excellence. Now, I request our dignitaries to be on the dais. I request DDAIA to be on the dais, Deputy Director, FEA to be on the dais, as well as Professor Nandita Madhavan, co-convener of the Gender Cell. I humble request all of you to be on the dais. If Vaijayanti Sharma is there, Vaijayanti Sharma ma'am is there, then we also request you to be on the dais so we can start our program. सबल भी मैं प्रबल भी मैं निर्बल मन से कहाँ ठहरूंगी मैं सबल भी मैं प्रबल भी मैं निर्बल मन से कहाँ ठहरूंगी मैं शूल को फूल समझकर चलना होगा शूल को फूल समझकर चलना होगा जीवन संघर्ष का पथ है जलना होगा जलना होगा चलना होगा सो इसी फलसफे को आधारशिला मान के आए This program has arranged to encourage, to felicitate our women world of IIT Bombay. Women have come a very long way through the efforts of those who have believed that no barrier is great enough to stop them from going forward. In a very short span of time, women are achieving the parity in all the fields, including education, healthcare, and not to forget the recent launch of Chandrayaan. Today, women scientists are the real heroes. Yes, of course, kitchen से लेकर Chandrayaan तक हम ही हम हैं. So, we are going to start our program, but before that, as you know, it is not the ordinary day. It is the celebration of strength, equality, and inspiration. It is a day where we salute women from all walks of life for the remarkable contribution they make to our world. This year, we have decided to felicitate the female employees who would be superannuating during March 2024 to February 2005 to reward and render appreciation for their remarkable contribution in the Institute and the effort put by them in making the IIT Bombay as an institute of eminence. Before this, I request our DDAIA to have few words. What's their view, how they celebrate women empowerment in IIT Bombay? Please come, sir.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to see so many of the women who have contributed in a huge way to the success of IIT, and to be, on today to felicitate them and to appreciate what they have done. I think that's an important day for us. We had a very interesting session before this with Ratna Pathak Shah. And I hope it was an inspiration for the next generation of both women as well as men. Because both sides have to be in balance for us to progress. Of course, we have had a long history of patriarchy, and it's been a long fight for women to come ahead. And by no means is it over. There's still a long way to go. We have to appreciate that we have made a lot of progress. We should never get disappointed that we have not yet reached where we need to be, but we have made a lot of progress. So we should be happy with that, but then we should never give up on making the rest of the path where we will reach true equality. And a lot of this is at home, actually. It's not just at work. I'm sure all of you appreciate this. In our society, and it's not just our society, it's not just India, it's the same whether it's West or anywhere else. Every society in this world, barring a few, have different expectations of men and women. And it's the men who get a free pass very often. It's okay if he doesn't do the work, right? All of us have experienced that. So I think starting at home, it should be clear that everyone should be equal. No free pass just because you're a boy, that you don't have to do work. And if we cultivate this in our boys, and correspondingly in the girls, that no, you should not also think you cannot do it. You can do these things. I think the world will be a much better place overall, much more just and fair place. And all of us should strive to make that happen. And today is a day to celebrate where we have reached, and also to dedicate ourselves to continuing that and making the world a better place. There are many issues in society. The gender divide is only one of them. There are other divides in our society, economic, caste base, and so on. So we have to fight all of them so we have a truly just society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Your words are enlightening us that we will need really regular to be on toes and work very hard like we are. Now I request Dean, FEA, to have few words. Please, sir.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Firstly, at the outset, let me congratulate our gender cell for organizing this function. And in the beginning, we have seen the talk by Srimati Ratna Pathak ji. She has looked at some of the vacant seats. The vacant seats have increased. Maybe they are telling us about the gender gap that still exists here. So my best wishes on this International Women's Day. And obviously the kind of tagline that World Bank has now related to this particular International Day is invest in women, accelerate growth. And we always talk about accelerating growth, isn't it? Including that is our job as functionaries. But now I think there is a solution to it. Invest in women. So I think that's what we have to do now. Because not only just the tagline, but World Bank has actually shown with some kind of research with a lot of figures, if you go Google it and then find out, they exactly quantified how much, if you just overcome all the gender gaps, how much in terms of even GDP has grown, how much turnover has grown, everything is positive and exponential. So obviously this is a great message, but that doesn't mean that the functionaries are not doing anything on this. Just to give you some metrics, of course it is very nice to all of you to know that one of the items in our strategic plan is diversity. And one of the important aspect in that diversity is, of course, gender diversity. And there are various other aspects of diversity, including geographical diversity. And previously we were looking at a particular map where from all the students have come to IIT Bombay. And we are very happy to see that every nook and corner of India, the students are here. So we have overcome several aspects of diversity, but a long way to go to fill the gap in gender diversity. But we are growing in that direction. For example, the students' male-female ratio is about now 23%, 24%. Maybe as we speak it is increasing. Once upon a time it is just hardly 15%, less than 15. So it has now grown to 24%. And of course, one cannot stop till equality happens. Okay, it should be 50-50. That should be our target. Hopefully next 10 years it will happen. It is a long path to travel. But whereas today a lot of staff members who are great contributors to the growth of our institute, they are here. But happy to note that at least in staff it is 30-70. So I think Registrar Saab has to bring it to 50 at least, more than 50 maybe there, to balance if some gaps happen on the other side. But faculty, I think we need to do a lot. It is just 15 versus 85. So there is a lot to be done there. So things are happening. It is not that these are all the metrics which we are looking at. And now with this World Bank tag, everybody knows that you just do that, automatically your growth happens. So great. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and all the best, and congratulations to all the winners of today's awards. And there is great contribution from everyone who is working in the institute, but much more from our women staff members and women faculty and women students. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. You truly broadened the meaning of women empowerment with the facts and figure. We really admire your word and hope we'll try to follow it. Now, my next request is Dr. Vajanti. Please come over here and have few words.
Hi, I don't really have very much to say, except that I have only recently taken on the role of the convener of the Gender Cell. And what I notice is that just talking about it and being role models and opening out the conversation does a lot to change mindsets. It also sets role models for our younger students, for our children, for the larger world in general. So it is not so much that we can change everything in one day, but if we are constantly engaging with each other, constantly engaging in the subject, I think we can bring about a lot of change. And that is sort of what we're looking forward to. It's a slow process, but it is possible. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. मुझे लगता है कि being a woman, मेल से खुद को कंपेयर करने से अच्छा है कि I should believe in my potential. What is my strength? मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ? What is my roles and responsibility? That is the true woman empowerment in my mind. So, अब बारी है सम्मान की. तो मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि I thought that when we want a respect, then first we need to give the respect. The world is echo. दुनिया प्रतिध्वनि है. जो आप देते हैं वही आपके पास लौट कर आता है. तो आइए सम्मान की श्रृंखला में सबसे पहले हम सम्मान करना चाहेंगे DDAIA का. May I request the Diksha to welcome the sir with the floral bouquet. Now I request Shravani to respect the DDA FEA with the floral bouquet. Now I have request to welcome Professor Vajanti Sharma to have a welcome of Professor Vajanti Sharma with the floral bouquet. इसी श्रृंखला को आगे बढ़ाते हुए वेलकम प्रोफेसर नंदिता माधवन विद फ्लोरल बुके. Now once again I am requesting Pramila ma'am to welcome our registrar with the floral bouquet. Now again a humble request to welcome Professor Nand Kishore with the floral bouquet. Now we have a time to felicitate our IT Bombay women employee who are retiring soon. I request DDAIA to felicitate Dr. Sujala Vilas Ainapure with the token of appreciation. Dr. Sojala Vilas Ainapure. She is MD Pediatric, has completed diplomas in acupuncture, acupressure and Sojok therapy. After rendering service for more than 35 years, she will be retiring on 2nd July 2024. I request everyone to give a big round of applause for her services and her kind guidance to everyone time to time. Now the next name in this series, Mary Thomas Profile. I request Pramila ma'am to send this token of appreciation. I request DDAIA to felicitate Mary Thomas ma'am with the token of appreciation. She is Administrative Superintendent, joined the Institute on 17 September 1987. She has been working in the Department of Art Sciences on successful completion on 36 years of service, retired on 31st March 2024. Now the next name in this series is Smriti Satish Nayak. I request Titiksha to come with the token. Smriti Satish Nayak. I request DDAIA to felicitate Srimati Smriti Satish Nayak, Senior Admin Superintendent, joined on 3rd March 1986 in the Accounts section. After rendering service 37 years, 7 months, she will be retiring on 31st October 2024. Now the next name in this series is Miss Sulabha Sharat Bhangre. I request DDFEA to felicitate Sulabha ma'am with the token. Now the next name in this series is Mrs. Anita Hirgange. She is currently holding the charge of Primary Section, IT Campus School and Junior College. She joined the institute on 18 September 1989 as a primary teacher. I request DDFEA to felicitate the ma'am with the token. After serving in the field of teaching for more than 34 years, will be superannuating on 30th April 2024. That is in coming month. We wish you all her best for her future endeavors. There are other 3 women who will be attending superannuation in the coming year are Ms. Nafisa Kaji, Senior Administrative Superintendent from IT Hospital, Ms. Sangeeta Shirole, Multi-Skill Assistant in Physics Department, Ms. Kavita Sheble, Administrative Associate posted at MMD, who retired voluntarily. They could not be the part of the felicitation due to personal reason. We wish best retirement life for all of them. Now one more staff in this series, might be she's not present, Sumedha Milind Gokhale, currently designated as Senior Administrative Superintendent in a state office. She's not there, I suppose. We wish a best retirement life for her. Another name in this series is Rekha Kurade. Rekha Kurade is also not there. Okay, no issue. So, this is all about the staff who have shown their hard work, perseverance to make the IIT Bombay a great institute. Now we have some other flavors of appreciation for the women candidate. I have a proud privilege to call these women employee because of the field they express their talent and the way they give laurels to the IIT. We have a very good sports team of women candidate in IIT Bombay. Now it's a time to felicitate them. So we have Chaya Bhamle, security section. They all have participated in the athletic team of IIT Bombay. Give a big round of applause for the Chaya Bhamle. I request, I call all of them. It's good that the team will come because together everyone achieves more. So, Chaya Bhamle, security section, part of team athletics. Sarita Mishra, campus school, part of team athletics. Kirti Bagwe, security, part of team athletics. Padmaja Nayar, hospital, part of team badminton and table tennis. Pallavi Naharikar, hospital, part of team. Yeah, okay. 3 are there. Yes. So I request Chaya ma'am, Sarita ma'am and Kirti ma'am to be on the dais, and I request Vajanti ma'am to give them a to felicitate them with the token of appreciation. Give them a very big round of applause. Now, I would like to call Padmaja Nayar, hospital, part of team badminton and table tennis. Give a big round of applause for Padmaja Nayar. I request Vajanti ma'am to do the honor. Now, the next name in this series is Pallavi Nakurekar, hospital, part of team badminton. I request Nandita ma'am to do the honor. It's okay, woman for woman, no issue. And then now the next name, I'm a very proud and extreme happiness to call the name because I personally admire her regarding all physical, mental well-being, the one and all, Geeta Shevde, my vice principal, IT Campus School. Give a big round of applause for Geeta Shevde. I request Nandita ma'am to do the honor. And the last name, we expect more name in the upcoming year, but in today's part, the last name is Miss Seema Kshirsagar, internal audit and part of the table tennis team. Give a big round of applause, क्योंकि घर की किचन से निकलकर बल्ला और बैडमिंटन चलाना आसान नहीं है. Please, I request all of you to give a big round of applause, and I request Nandita ma'am to do the honor. Now, I'm handing over mic to Pramila ma'am. I request Pramila ma'am to be on the mic.
Thank you, Dr. Varsha. I take this opportunity to thank our both the DDs, DD and DD along with that Dean AA sir, Registrar sir, and of course the most powerful, actually, I must say, because the convener and the co-convener of the gender cell, I really appreciate, because as I work with you, so I just take this opportunity that you are being the part and you are just sharing the dice, and thank you very much. On this date, as we are felicitating in the women, campus women, so the one who was anchoring now, Dr. Varsha Costa, that we were not knowing that she is a poet also, and she has just published, she has written poems, and she has made a book of that. So it is our great honor that we are getting opportunity just to bring her that talent on the dais, and just it is our wish at this ki just I'll request the dignitaries to just unflood that book. Before that, I would like to say something. Just कविता मानवीय भावनाओं की सर्वश्रेष्ठ अभिव्यक्ति है. Delivering and confining these thoughts, now I request all the dignitaries to introduce the back of poetry collection by Dr. Varsha Mahesh. Please do the honor. In this state of excitement, the things which I was supposed to do in the beginning, that let me do it now. Just wishing everyone a happy and meaningful Women's Day. So, vote of thanks. Okay, still, I express my vote. I give my special thanks to the great honor for the entire concerns. Thank you. Thanking all the dignitaries in allowing us to hold these sessions. And on behalf of PTD cells, I really express my gratitude and the thanks that we got the opportunity to felicitate the women on campus. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
For the राष्ट्रगान के लिए खड़े हो जाएं, क्योंकि सशक्त नारी सशक्त देश का निर्माण करती है. We cannot forget our country. You all get ready for the national anthem, please. जन गण मन अधिनायक जय है, भारत भाग्य विधाता. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविण उत्कल बंग. बिंद हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा. तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे. गाहे तब जय गाथा, जन गण मंगल नायक जय है, भारत भाग्य विधाता. जय है, जय है, जय है, जय 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 है. Thank you, everyone.